Welcome back to the deep end, the backyard revolution. I'm your host, Sarah. In our last episode, we talked all about the renovation design brief, that North Star that keeps your project on course. But today, we're shifting from the drawing board to the backyard. We're talking about a massive shift in the Auckland landscape that kicked off on January 15, 2026. It's being called the Backyard Revolution, and it's all about those new granny flat exemptions. Joining me to keep us from drowning in the technical details is Jan, lead project manager from Style Plus Renovations. Jan, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Sarah. It's great to be here. It's a bit of a game changer, Sarah, it really is. For years, adding even a small dwelling meant a mountain of red tape and months of waiting on council. But these new exemptions have opened up a lot of doors for homeowners, provided they play by the rules, of course.
It sounds like a dream, building a whole extra house without a building consent. I'm guessing it's not quite a do-whatever-you-want free-for-all, though.
Steady on, definitely not. It's about making things faster, not making them a Wild West. There's a very specific path to follow to stay on the right side of the law. To qualify for this exemption, your standalone dwelling has to hit some very strict technical markers. If you miss even one, you're right back in the traditional building consent process.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What does this exemption-ready unit actually look like?
First, size. The floor area must be 70 square metres or less, and that's a hard limit, including any internal garages. It must be single-storey, strictly no mezzanines. We keep the engineering simple to keep the risks low. The building height can't exceed 4 metres above the floor level.
And I'm assuming we aren't talking about heavy concrete blocks here.
Correct. The rules require lightweight construction, so timber or lightweight steel framing with a lightweight roof cladding. And a big one for the internal design, no level entry or wet floor showers. If the bathroom requires a waterproof membrane for a walk-in shower, the exemption's off the table.
What about the land itself? I imagine Auckland's famous hills and flooding zones play a part.
They do. The land must not be affected by natural hazards, so if you're on a cliff edge or a known flood path, you likely need a full consent. And then there's the 2-metre rule. The unit must be at least 2 metres away from all boundaries, front, side and rear, and at least 2 metres from the main house. You're essentially placing it in a 2-metre buffer box. Finally, utilities. You can't just piggyback off the main house in a DIY fashion. It needs connections to the public stormwater and wastewater networks or a compliant on-site system, plus independent electricity and gas supplies. And remember, the design cannot include any waivers or modifications of the building code. It has to be by the book.
Now, Jan, no building consent is a phrase that probably makes people think they can skip the paperwork and get straight to the hammers. Is that the case?
Not at all. That's a bit of a trap. You're still legally responsible for compliance under the Building Act 2004. The council isn't coming to inspect the site, which means the weight of responsibility is actually higher for the homeowner and their team.
Okay, so I'm hitting compose on an email to the council. What exactly am I sending so I don't get a return to sender notice?
First, you must apply for a Project Information Memorandum, or a PIM, before you start. It costs a base fee of $520. You email your application to grannyflatsbcexemption@aucklandcouncil.gov.nz.
And I heard there's a very specific subject line needed.
Spot on. You must use the subject line Schedule 1A, Small Standalone Dwelling Exemption. Inside, you'll need Form 2AA for the homeowner and Form 2A, which is a memorandum, essentially a certificate of work, from your licensed building practitioner regarding the design.
So even without a consent, you still need the pros?
Absolutely. Only licensed building practitioners, registered architects, or professional engineers can design these, and only LBPs can build or supervise them. Once the dust settles and the build's finished, you have exactly 20 working days to notify the council and provide all the records of work for your property file.
Let's talk about the B word, budget. People hear exemption and might think half price. What's the reality for a 70 square metre unit in Auckland today?
We have to be realistic. Based on current Auckland data, you're looking at a range of $3,000 to $5,000 per square metre for a quality build.
So for that maximum 70 square metre unit, we're talking a starting point of $210,000 to $350,000.
That's the baseline, yes. And that's just the structure. You've got to factor in the hidden costs, excavation, roadways, landscaping, and those independent utility connections we mentioned.
And what about the council's cut? I thought we were skipping the fees.
You save on consent fees, but you may still be hit with development contributions, or DCs. These are one-time payments to the council to support the extra pressure on city infrastructure. Auckland Council has an online calculator for this, and it can be a significant sum. I always tell our clients, have a 10 to 15% contingency buffer. In building, it's always better to have it and not need it than the other way around.
Before we wrap up, let's clear the air on some definitions. I see people using sleep out and granny flat like they're the same thing.
They're very different animals. A sleep out is just for sleeping. No kitchen, no laundry, no bathroom. The occupant has to use the main house for all of that. A granny flat, or minor dwelling, is a fully self-contained home.
And what if I've got a perfectly good garage I want to turn into a flat? Does that get the 2026 exemption?
No, and that's a major point of confusion. The exemption is strictly for new standalone builds. If you're converting an existing garage, a basement, or adding an extension that's attached to the house, you still need a full building consent. You're changing the use of an existing structure, and that's a different legal path.
Right, so it's like our flirt versus commit analogy from episode 1. You can flirt with a conversion, but if you want that backyard revolution exemption, you have to commit to a brand new standalone build that ticks every single box.
Precisely. It's about building something new that adds real value and safety to your property.
Jan, this has been an incredible deep dive. It really feels like 2026 is the year of the Auckland backyard revolution.
It certainly is, Sarah. Just remember, whether you're building a 70 square metre minor dwelling or a small sleep out, the magic always happens in that design phase we talked about last time. Get your PIMs sorted before you start digging and you'll be on the right track.
If you're ready to stop staring at Pinterest and start building, head over to styleplusrenovations.co.nz to get your free Architect's Renovation Feasibility Report. The team is even available for a no-obligation chat via Zoom to discuss your renovation requirements. Thanks for joining us on The Deep End. Next time, we're looking at another fantastic way to unlock your property's potential, garage conversions. We'll see you then. Until then, keep dreaming big, Auckland.